In today's show, we have another multi-topic episode where first we discuss, are words more dangerous than actions? Then we discuss, should we ban women from wearing provocative clothing at work? And finally we discuss, is holding two jobs actually dishonest?
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo, and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague, Tayo Boya. Tayo, hello, my friend, once again. I hope you're keeping safe and well.
Yeah, what the hell, Tony? What you gonna do, eh?
Come on, let's keep our tradition up. Come on, say hi to our audience. Come on.
No.
Oh, a blank refusal there. Not even a consideration. It's literally no. Oh dear.
I've been too lax with you recently, so you are beginning to take liberties with my generosity. But absolutely not.
Well, I will say it for you. Hello, audience, and welcome to another show of shenanigans. But hopefully we have some reasonable topics to discuss. Before we start with those topics, I will like to thank you once again for your comments and feedback. Whatever platform you're on, we do get to them eventually. Keep those coming in because we do value them. Right. On with today's show. It's another multi-topic episode, so time permitting, of course, we'll try and get through a number of questions that we're going to discuss. And the first one is one that I actually came up with that Tayo wanted to talk about. And it's, are words more dangerous than actions? Now, I actually made this comment to my esteemed friend and colleague while we were having an off-air discussion. And he wanted to talk about it. So I'm going to ask you, first off, why you want to talk about this particular one.
Because it was because I sent you a video in which a gentleman was being rather tetchy, aggressive.
Tetchy! He was swearing every second word.
Well, he was discussing genocide, and it's not a funny subject.
No, I agree, but...
And if you feel keenly about people destroying an entire group of people, then you might then exercise some passion. And I am on record as saying several times, dozens of times by now, that I feel we should always look at the moon, not at the finger pointing to the moon. I sent you this video in the expectation that I didn't even think you'd be exercised by swear words, and I was really surprised when you came back and said, "Oh, he's swearing all the time. I'm not able to listen to the
content." Yes, the content was being masked by the delivery, which was shocking.
Hold on. No, I was saying to myself, hold on.
Yeah.
They're just words. It's just a formulation of a certain number of sounds, consonants and vowels. How can that be? I mean, even the N word, which, like I've told you before, I regularly engage with people online who use the N word, knowing fully well that I am black. And the way I found that I overcome that is to ignore it and to attack their argument. And you find that in many cases, they drop the N-word and they start focusing on the argument, which is how it should be. If I just say, "Ooh, you're using the N-word, ooh, that's it, I can't discuss this anymore," then we're not getting anywhere. It's just a formulation of words, and we're told how to react. And I think it is far more important to think about people being killed, maimed every single day, and to try to stop that no matter what sort of language is being used. I mean, that's the crux of the matter is men, women, and children. Notice how I put that, because a lot of other commentators would say children, women, and men. It's like, why are we putting men first? Men, children, and women are being maimed and killed. and that's just not. It's not good enough. We can and we ought to be doing something about it and not allowing it. I mean, how is it that what is this? 80 years is it after the Second World War? We are still, as a human race, standing by and allowing a genocide by the International Court of Justice, saying there's plausible reason to believe that there is genocide taking place, and the world is just standing by. And then to hold that up because somebody is swearing, nah.
You're making a big leap there, and you're being a bit disingenuous actually, because you're conflating the two different points. You were playing a video of some guy effing and blinding. I couldn't even understand half of what he was saying, and so I turned off by it. If he had a message of real importance, then stop swearing. Just tell me the data. Like you say, if you're now implying that because I turned that video off, I did not feel for what was happening in the Middle East, then you're clearly wrong, because that is not the case. I feel for the poor people that are being persecuted there and being bombed out of existence. It's totally wrong, and it is a genocide taking place. But now we're moving away from what was being said in this video, and the whole point of this topic, it wasn't anything to do per se with what's happening in the Middle East. It's to do with whether words are more dangerous than actions, and it stemmed from the poem, or is it a poem or nursery rhyme, that many of us are taught as young kids, which is, I'll start it, you'll finish it: sticks and stones will break my bones, but
words will never hurt me.
Yes. And that is absolute tosh. It's nonsense. Because if you ask any child now who's in adulthood, ask them about memories that are significant in childhood, they won't say, oh, I remember when I really hurt myself falling off a fence or breaking my leg or whatever. No. If they've been harmed verbally by a teacher, a colleague, a parent, they'll remember that. That has a more lasting effect, words do, than actions that cause broken bones. Because bones heal, but our brains get tarnished almost for life if we let those words seep in. And that's what happens with our psyche. So I'm a believer that words are more dangerous than actions, because actions fade, but the words can last an eternity.
All right, so no, I wasn't conflicting the two. The reason that I came up, the reason that I said, I mean, we have a WhatsApp thread and trail. The reason that I brought up, because I'm the one who brought up that sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me, is that I was taken aback that you didn't finish the video and just overlook what this guy was saying. Now you brought up a different argument that you did not make at the time, which is that you didn't understand what the guy was saying because it was effing and blinding so much, which I find hard to believe because I understood the guy and I don't think it was that difficult. Yes, it did F and blind, but it wasn't so much so that you couldn't make head or tails out of what he was saying. I think he presented a very strong argument for every individual taking action and doing whatever they can and just not paying lip service to doing something about the genocide taking place, but to actually get involved. That's what he was saying. That was his basic position.
Yeah, but he didn't have to convey it in that way.
Well, he didn't.
He was
have
losing
to,
support.
He didn't have to, but he did. And
I know he did. Well,
lose...
I didn't relate to it. That's my choice, and I didn't relate to it.
Yeah, but again, I'm saying that the subject matter, and we're getting back to this stick and stone thing. The subject matter is so grave that it's incumbent upon people to put that aside because no harm is being done. What is it? Effing and blinding?
Okay.
So what?
Let's turn this conversation around to something which you're quite passionate about.
I was going to turn to your actual sticks and stones thing.
Oh, okay. Go on then, and I'll turn to a comment that you made.
You see, you said that, well, time heals physical wounds, but mental scars caused by harsh words are permanent injuries.
Well,
can do. Now, it would be incorrect for me to say that that words don't cause permanent injury. I know I'm very close to someone, excuse me, pardon me, I'm very close to someone who, for a very long time, carried mental scars because people had poked fun of a certain part of her anatomy when she was young, and she carried it on. But I put it down to her not meeting my grandmother because my grandmother, my stepfather's mother, so my step grandmother, who was a Edwardian lady. She wasn't a Victorian lady. She was an Edwardian.
Edwardian.
She was an Edwardian lady, a very, very prim, a very proper lady. But she taught me so much. She taught me the old British values, if you remember. And she's the one that used to tell me, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And I think what they were saying is, to some degree, you allow words to hurt you. You can't stop. You can't stop a baseball bat, from breaking your leg. If somebody hits you very hard with a baseball bat, it's going to break your legs. But if you've got a tough mental attitude, you can allow words to bounce off you. And by the way,
are you actually been listening to the Tony School of Motivational Speaking? You're actually turning on me what I actually tell to my audiences. So I actually totally agree with you. You can treat your mind to block any of the negative speech. Of course you can. It's a skill that you acquire. Absolutely. I'll give you an example. You have a translator in your mind that actually translates these sounds into meaningful conversation that you then absorb. Now, for instance, if someone was speaking a foreign language, they could be effing and blinding at you, but your interpreter in your brain cannot decipher that language, so it doesn't have any effect. So the words themselves aren't the problem, it's your interpretation of those words. But in the case of this gentleman who was trying to express his anger at inaction in the Middle East, it wasn't the words themselves. He switched me off. My translator in my brain was so put out by his delivery that I actually chose to switch off. So whatever he was saying, whether it was justified or not, I did not want to receive those messages in my translator for it to make an effect. And the way you deliver is as important as the message, because that's how you can get into people's psyches for them to action what you want them to action. So words are powerful.
Well, yeah, I didn't say words aren't powerful. I just said that sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. You see, the thing about it is this: you say that that you can train your mind to protect itself from words that might cause harm, and that's your position.
You can
possibly, because
practice,
I met my grandmother and she helped to bring me up. I discovered a few weeks ago, I've been trying to tell you about it, or I may have told you about it, I don't remember. Did I tell you that I've discovered that I'm a rationalist?
No, you haven't mentioned that.
Okay, so I was watching a video, which I seem to be doing quite a lot nowadays. I was watching a video and was talking about various philosophies. And one of the philosophies that was discussed was rationalism. And I was like, oh my goodness, that explains me. I understand me now. I mean, after all these years, I finally get me. I'm a rationalist. And what's a rationalist? A rationalist is someone whose top priority is reason and not authority.
Okay.
So I always put authority to one side, and I always take that. That's why I don't, maybe this is all this time I've been telling you, modern scientists are rubbish, and who believes them? And because
so you have a problem with authority, though.
Well, it's not a problem. I just ignore them. They're irrelevant to me. It's like, what is your argument as a human, as a person? I'm not interested whether you're an expert or not. I don't care. What is your reasoning? Then you tell me your reasoning. Then I think about it. And if it makes sense to me, I'll listen to you. And if it doesn't make sense to me, your degrees, your expertise, all of this is meaningless. I really don't care. Right?
You see, if you have that attitude throughout society, then you can create a society of anarchy, of disorder.
I would say it's the heights of liberalism, that you get a very liberal society where people just think about stuff and hopefully the best arguments win. And it should actually be a wonderful society because it's rationalist, because we don't follow authority. We don't say the Pope said do this and we must do that, or this Imam said go over there and do that, and then you do. That everything is submitted to reason, and then you reason, and then you think, yeah, okay, that makes sense, or that doesn't make sense. The reason I bring it up is this. I need to be able to respect someone for their words to hurt me.
Indeed.
But since I don't respect anybody, their words can't hurt me.
That's an interesting philosophy.
I don't care. If you think I'm this or you think I'm
yeah.
that, since I already think you're an oink.
That's a polite term for the show.
Of a human anyway. I don't mean you, Tony, by the way.
Yeah, no. It's a general you. Yeah.
The general you. I already think you are just, well, animated mud. A pot. So you're telling me blah blah blah. I just see your lips moving. I just think, and I joke. It doesn't really touch me at all.
So how then, if you in a can I use this term, disrespect people until they've become credible in your eyes? That's how your view is. So how would you listen to them anyway? You wouldn't give them the time of day.
I actually need to understand their argument because they might have a point. I need to understand, do they have, this is why I can change my mind, because somebody I don't respect to say something, I think, I never thought of that. That is absolutely right. At that point, I drop whatever I used to think, and I believe this new thing, and I respect this person for coming up with that point. That's why I can listen to feminists, because I think they're talking nonsense, but if they say something and I go, oh yeah, I never thought of that. Then you have to credit that argument.
Okay. Now, you said that this guy, you were using a bit of bias with this guy because you have got that viewpoint, which is understandable in the circumstances in the Middle East, but the way he was delivering wasn't great. But let's say you had somebody who was from the trans community and expected to be referred to with a particular pronoun. Would you listen to them, or have you already made up your mind and think, no, that's nonsense, so I think they're an oink, as you using your terms?
I would definitely think that they're an oink. And if I had to listen to them, it would be because somebody says, like you know my position, and you would send a video to me and say, listen to this guy, I think he makes an interesting point. So you already know how I feel and what I think about it. And if you think he's made an interesting point, that means there must be something that he or she or it, whatever, is going to say that I haven't thought of, I haven't heard of before. So I will grind my teeth and listen through it. And then when I get to that inflection point where I go, oh, well, yeah, I didn't actually think about that. Or I go, I see what Tony was pointing out to me, but it fails due to the XYZ reason. Then I can stop the video. Well, no. And then he was trying to say this, but because of this, that, and that, I'm not going to listen.
Okay. So you're saying then you would listen to everybody's point of view before you've made up your mind about them as a person. You would listen to it all.
I would listen. We've had this discussion. I can't remember if it was in respect of. We had a discussion when I said I would listen to a child, and you disagreed with me. Even Greta Thunberg, when she first started speaking, my instinct, as someone brought up in Africa, my instinct is that youngsters don't know what the hell they're talking about. So my instinct was, the more serious the discussion, the less willing I am to listen to this young person, because what do they know? But I still had to listen to what she had to say in case she said something that was right. It was only when I listened to her speech and she was going, I can't remember this very famous thing she said. How dare you? I'm like, what? All right, take this person out, give her 6 lashes of the cane and tell her to shut up and never open her stupid mouth again.
Oh, come on.
This is how I felt about it. No, this is like, why you talk, what? You haven't said anything reasonable.
But the thing is, you expect children to respect elders, so there's a respect in a hierarchical sense there.
That's why I listen.
To children?
Yes, that's why you listen. So if a child comes in and says blah, 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 The example I gave the last time we spoke about this, a child comes in and says, there's a cobra in the bathroom. Now, you and I would say this is the UK. There are no cobras running loose in the UK. It's not a credible statement.
Okay.
Hang on. What if there is a cobra in the bathroom? Just in case. That 0.0001% possibility. So you don't go charging into the bathroom going, there is no cobra here, and then you get bitten by a loose cobra you hadn't heard.
Yeah, but the chance. Oh
the
dear.
chances
You
are
do
very
have.
the
Okay.
chances are extremely low. However, it doesn't hurt if you open the door carefully, look around, and then ascertain, no, actually, where did you see this cobra? And then you can sort it out rationally. No, there is no cobra here. But just, that little doubt. I think it's that little doubt that separates. What are people who don't have any doubts in their mind go, oh, the curve,
The bell curve.
not Bell, the curve, the not is it Jacobs Creutzfeldt? What is that curve? Very,
Don't
very
know.
confident people. The less they know. Dunning
Oh,
Kruger.
Dunning-Kruger.
The
That's
Dunning
the
Kruger.
one.
You can't talk to the people who are so confident. They don't know, but they're so confident that there isn't one. And then they go and then like they get bitten, and then they start asking questions.
Yeah,
How did the cobra get in here? Yeah, well, it's a kind of late to start asking that now. Why didn't you ask that back before?
Yeah, but that's still based on probabilities. Let me go on to something which is closer to home for you.
Mhm.
You have a brick tied to your right foot when you're driving your car. So you know the probabilities of being
Have
caught.
I said that on camera? I haven't, by the way. So
No.
I don't know what Tony's talking about.
Haven't you just recently had to attend one of these speed awareness courses?
That was an oversight because I didn't understand the technology of my car. No, there was an oversight. I didn't understand the technology of my car. As I thought I explained to you about the cruise control. So that was an oversight, okay? I don't have a brick tied to my foot for the purposes of public discussion. Obviously not.
Just for reference, audience, I heard Tayo come past where I live. I didn't actually hear him. I actually saw him. There was this glowing red object. Just, that the Doppler sound. That was Tayo. So the brick is actually tied to his right foot for
That's not
sure.
true. I blew the horn, didn't I? Wasn't that when I was blowing the
You
horn?
did blow the horn, yes, indeed. And everyone in the whole village heard. But hey, that's a separate story. So yeah, you see, but going back to your real what was the word you used? You're a realist, aren't you? Yes.
Rationalist.
Rationalist, that was it. So the rational choice is to look at the situation and think, the likelihood is here, like you said about the cobra in the bathroom, unlikely, but there's a bigger likelihood of being caught speeding. But
Yes.
you're sort of ignoring that because
It's
you
a
like
chance.
your
I am taking what I consider to be a reasonable chance. And by the way, I'm also waiting for the arrival. It comes from the US, unfortunately. I'm waiting for the arrival of my radar detector,
Okay.
which should considerably. Oh, by the way, just help me to stay within speed limits. Because I don't naturally drive. I mean, if this ever goes to court, I must say, and I'm being serious now, I don't drive too fast. Never do. The only reason I want a radar detector is that sometimes I don't even know why I want one. I think I probably won't even buy it any longer. I don't need one. I always drive
You're
within the speed limit.
backtracking now, seriously and
Just
quickly.
like that.
Okay.
Someone's
I
gonna
mean,
have to edit this. I think I'm the one who's going to be doing the editing on this episode.
okay. Let's go back to
The topic.
Yes.
Okay, so you see, this is for me. I was going to ask a question now. I know the question, just how to frame it. Would you, if you had to choose between being verbally assaulted with threats of sexual interdiction, or B, physically assaulted sexually Which would you choose?
Well, because I'm fairly confident, the first one, of course, because the words I'm not letting into my brain in that circumstance.
Any
Because
child, I believe, would, if they knew what the options were, which I don't think they would, because they wouldn't understand the gravity of the situation. But any human who understood the options would make the choice to go with the words, because actually sticks and stones can and will break your bones, but words don't have to hurt you. If you
if
just
it was phrased in that manner, then I would totally take it on board.
well,
It's because it isn't. If it, you said the operative word there in the middle. If it was sticks and stones can break your bones,
will
but
will break your
will
bones.
break your bones, but words, it's not will never hurt you, but could hurt you. And that's the key. If it was said in and framed that way, then I would agree with it 100%.
Well, I
Because
feel
it's the
that's a
fact that
sterner
they can't
generation.
is not right.
My boomer generation, my firmer, sterner, studier generation, for us, it was true.
I think there was more problems than were actually communicated, because there's a lot of people who took a lot of this on board and had mental issues, but it wasn't okay to talk about it then. Now we sometimes, us middle-aged people, will sometimes look at the younger generation and sometimes look at them with disdain and going, oh, aren't they weak mentally? They can't deal with this sort of stuff. Well, in reality, they're encouraged to talk about it so that they offload that pressure and remove it from their psyche. But in our generation growing up, it wasn't right to do that. You had to keep it in and not let it out. And unfortunately, that festering caused more problems than letting it out. So even though the youth of today appear to be, in quotes, weaker, in fact, they're probably stronger and braver to actually let it out and say they're vulnerable in order to deal with things far better. So I think we're doing them a disservice if we think that they're weaker and we were somehow stronger by bottling it up. I think it made us weaker by not letting it out, because we're taking it internally, which is doing far, far more damage to us as an individual.
I can't believe you're saying this. I really, honestly, truly can't believe you're saying this. I think if I can get you, well, you have to apply. If you can get a DBS, or maybe because you work in a bank, you already have a DBS.
I have.
Oh, fantastic! A DBS, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't live in the UK, is what is a DBS again?
It's a check so that you can.
Yeah, what does it actually stand for?
Oh, I don't actually know, but I know I've had it done. I've had a check done.
It's a
Because
check.
I've,
It's a
yeah,
check the government the government runs on you to make sure that there are no red flags that will prevent you from working
with
in sensitive
children.
positions
Yeah.
or with children, or in, as in Tony's case, in the bank or something. So you can't go into a school unescorted without a DBS. So
Exactly.
what I, because of what you've just said, Tony, I actually want to talk to my school and say I want to bring my friend in, because he believes that the children are stronger than our generation. They're not.
Can I can I
These are
promote my new kids book that I've just launched? I might as well
this
do that if I'm going to your
school.
school.
Well, I don't think it's the age group because I work in a secondary school.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, what
So
age group are we talking here? We're
we're
talking.
talking teenagers, basically.
No, it's no. Mine is for younger kids. Yeah.
Yes. So getting away from Tony's grift, I'm back onto the subject.
Okay.
These people, I wouldn't ask. I wouldn't ask any class that I can think of, any group of children, because we have year groups, and I cannot close my eyes and think, okay, that year group, I will ask them to fight their way out of a paper bag. You can't send these people to war. If you sent this generation to war, they wouldn't last a week.
Why would you want to send them to war? That's an extreme end.
It's not a question of do we want to. The world's a dangerous place. We might have to. You've got your prime minister. Well, okay, not yours, but you've got that lunatic across in France, Macron, President Macron, saying he wants to send NATO troops into Russia,
Into Ukraine.
into Ukraine. Are you actually? Has he been into a classroom recently? Because if he had, he'll just go like, "We've got big problems." These 15%, I read somewhere, 15% of modern youth have got mental issues. 15%.
That was an American figure, wasn't it?
I don't believe that it's true. What I believe is it's cool to be that way. It's cool. Oh,
I get that. I do get that.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
can't do this because I'm sensitive like this or this, and everybody's competing to be sensitive. But back in the old days, it was the opposite.
Well, hold on. We've had people now because it's in vogue. It's cool, as you say. It's actually cool to say this. We've had what is it now? The recent stats. People in America, kids and teenagers, saying that there's a big chunk, a huge percentage, who think they're in the wrong body.
Yes,
I mean I'm sorry, that's for children. That's nonsense. It's nonsense.
They've been told that, so that's slightly different. They've been told that in kindergarten. That do you feel like a little girl or do you feel like a little boy?
I know, which is
in
brainwashing.
That case, you're in the wrong. Yes,
yeah,
it is brainwashing.
But anyway,
so thank goodness for and that you see, you could start arguing that that's where words do hurt.
Yes, they do. Because people are impressionable. So you see, it depends on the individual.
But if you have a demagogue who's using powerful words and is stirring up the crowd, but after he finishes his speech, the crowd just goes, powerful speech, but we're not going to do anything.
Then that's the whole point of motivation.
Yes.
You're motivating people.
Yeah,
we know a very famous individual in the Second World War. Mm-hmm. He was a phenomenal orator, and he raised the whole population to follow him, and his actions were not exactly very nice. We can say stronger words than that. But he was a motivational speaker. He was inspirational to the German people at the time. And so they were brought forward on a crest of a wave to follow him because he was passionate about the direction of travel, and they followed him, rightly or wrongly, of course. History shows that, but yeah, he was a motivator, and it was the powerful words he used to enable a nation to move forward in the direction that they did,
and to get involved in actions. So you can motivate people, and if they don't do anything, if there's no action, your words are meaningless.
Well,
but if you start with the action that people are already acting, then you will find that standing there and going, do you know what? Let's not. They're just going to get stampeded because your words are going to be meaningless.
Yeah, I agree. But we're saying from the original statement, it's a mix. If the wording was slightly changed, then I agree with you. But in the current form, no, because words do hurt you and can hurt you for life if you let them. So the statement that says words can never hurt you is in fact incorrect. So whether it's more words are more dangerous than actions, we can debate that all day. But certainly words are powerful because they can play on people's psyche.
Well, this is where my rationalism comes in. You are correct. Yeah, I mean, you're right. What do you want me to say? So if you're right, you're right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's. I mean, we've done this one. Unless you got any more comment to add on this topic.
I've conceded that. Okay. We need to reword that.
Yeah.
Sticks and stones will break your bones.
But words could also hurt you.
Words don't have to hurt you.
Okay, don't have to is another term. Yeah, that makes more sense, and it's actually more valid in my opinion. So yes. Cool, right. Let's move on. We've got another topic of discussion, and this is one that you've come up with, and you've said, should we ban women in particular?
Yes.
From let me finish.
No. That's fine.
No.
We ban women. Yes.
Stop it. Right. Should we ban women from wearing provocative clothing at work?
Well, okay, go on.
Okay. Now you raised this
I was
question.
going to say, I just had a thought pop into my head. Depends on the work. Sex workers. You've got to let them work, man.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Obviously, I came up with. Why did I come up with this?
I don't know.
I believe in our cello, there's an actual video where it discusses this. So.
No, I haven't seen that actually.
Okay, we might want to link to it. Yes. It is because there are women who are going into work provocatively dressed, and we're going to have to decide what does that.
Well, exactly. That's you took the question out of my mouth there. What does provocative mean? What constitutes provocative? Because provocative is subjective. You could think something's provocative, and I couldn't. So where's the line?
Well, the line is when you are dressed in such a way that the males in your environment are distracted. Because obviously, think about it at one extreme. Hold on, but I'll get there.
Yeah.
One extreme, a woman walks in a burqa. She's covered from head to toe. You can't see anything. It's just this dark dress from head to toe.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so apart from those, wait, can you see me smiling?
Yeah.
Okay. Apart from those who are wondering if they're going to go kaboom at any second.
Stop saying that. That's wrong. Okay, that was a distasteful joke. Please take that back.
Hi.
Okay.
Well, I'll take it back. What's up? What I worry about sometimes. Anyway, back in the real world, which is where I worry about it. You got that end of the spectrum, and then you've got the other end of the spectrum when a stripper has walked into the wrong building halfway through a routine.
Yeah, but hold on.
So in between those two extremes, and I will admit that the second part of that extreme is a little unlikely. I don't know why she's walking.
Yeah, she's not part of the work. She just happens to be a bystander. She just happens to be there,
but she walks in and she's dressed like this and she's dressed like, or maybe it's for some reason she just walked into the wrong office, and everybody looks at her. So obviously between those two extremes, there is a what is it now?
What? An acceptable standard?
Exactly.
Well, sorry, but let me just add one in here, right? That is you're on a sticky wicket here, because what is the standard that's classed as non-provocative? And also, what does it matter? What does it matter that, think about it this way, if a man hasn't had any, is this going to be an adult? Yeah, any relations for a while, even a female in a burqa would be distracting.
Oh, come off it.
No, because some of them have got beautiful eyes, and some people could be just turned on and distracted by that.
Okay, I don't know who you're mixing with, man,
right.
But honestly,
no. But what I'm saying, it's a fallacy to think that men would not be distracted at anyone. And also, what happens if there's gay people in the office? You're now targeting women here, but what if there's a gay person in the office and you're just walking in with a shirt? That could be a turn on for a gay person. So where do you draw the line here?
I'm happy to answer that question.
Okay.
Last person, I don't give a hoot about what the gays think, okay? So I don't care. Boom. That's done. That's
so
their
you
problem.
Don't care. See,
no.
That's bias again.
It is bias, and I admit it's bias. And so just because I'm biased, so what? It's what I teach my students. It's so what? I am biased. Yeah, I don't care. I'm not going to go with that argument. I don't care. Now, with the other one, I'm trying to get to the name of this Chief Justice in America who said, I can't define pornography, but I know it when I see it. Do you remember?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
So but I can't remember who said it.
I know it when I see it is cited as Stewart's test for obscenity. This is Wikipedia. I'll send
well,
you
look. You see, over the years, indecent clothing or provocative clothing has changed. If you remember, in the
Edwardian
1800s,
times,
Edwardian, women
just
weren't
like
even allowed to show their
Victorian.
ankles
Yeah,
because it was
Victorian.
provocative.
They used to cover up the. They used to cover up. Well, it's. I don't know if it's an urban myth or whether it might be true, but apparently they used to cover up the legs of pianos, the curved, you know, the curved legs of pianos, because that was meant to be provocative. Now, I don't know if that's true, but if it was, I'd just say those guys just needed to drink less tea or something. Like, so something
This is what I
very,
mean.
very wrong.
It's a nonsense thing. It's a nonsense thing. Personally, if in a work environment, I would be happy for, as long as they're not customer facing people, as long as they're not turning up in a bikini, because I suppose
All
that's
right, so
probably
let's
too
say
far.
hang on. Let's say they turned up in a bikini then.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
If they were nice looking, I wouldn't mind at all, because that's my preference.
So hold on. That's even worse position than mine. So if they're ugly land whales, then you're going to be like, no, you can't. I mean, what the hell, man?
That is exactly what happened, because that's my personal view. Yeah, that's not
but
what
what's the
society should
problem?
be.
If it's not something you're even attracted to, what exactly are you complaining about? I don't get it.
Exactly, I'm not complaining.
So
If
what
they're
is
not attractive, it doesn't bother me.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought you were saying you weren't bothered if they were attractive.
If they were attractive, then obviously they would take my attention.
Fine.
But I wouldn't mind that. But I'm not saying I would encourage it, because
So what
obviously.
happened is you take their attention, you might pay them some attention, you might look at them, right?
Right.
So she comes in a bikini, she's attractive.
Yeah.
So you look at them,
Yeah.
and then what they're doing, so they're running off to HR and saying that you are making them uncomfortable by looking at them. That's why there's a problem. They run off to HR and then they make it your problem that, hey, he's looking at me.
I see. Right.
And we're like, well, yeah, because of the way you're dressed.
Yeah.
You know, there's reality here, man. The realities of life. Because if men came in with holes in their trousers and they were flashing their ding dongs all over the place,
Yeah, they would get in
women would
trouble.
complain, but women would turn it on their head and go, "Oh, he's oppressing me." So how come we can't do it? We say, "Well, you're oppressing
Oh, I
us."
see what your argument is. Oh, right. I get it now. Because you're saying that it would be the man would be. So if your argument then is not, should we ban women wearing provocative clothing and makeup at work? You don't actually want that. If women don't then point the finger at men for leering at them. Right.
Precisely.
Right. So there's a double-edged sword here. It's
not double-edged. It's
no, because
double standards. It's double standards.
it is
like, what are
double
you trying to do?
standards. It's double standards.
It's
I get
ridiculous.
it, but I was not thinking along those lines, that if a woman wore whatever she wanted, which is her right, she's a free person to do so.
Then she takes
And-
the consequences.
Exactly. That's the key.
And then you're getting attention. What precisely are you trying? Because you know what MGTOW, do you know MGTOW, men going their own way? Right.
Yeah.
You know what the MGTOW say? That women are only harassed when they get the attention of men they don't find attractive. So if they find the man attractive and he's looking at them, they like that kind of attention. But as soon as Joe blogs with his bare guts and all that looks over at them, they're like, you're harassing me. So this is why I'm like, no, you can't. If that's the case, there has to be a standard dress code. You gotta stick to the standard dress code, because then, if someone leers at you, then we can say, okay, there's an objective case here of sexual harassment.
Well, they could still do that whether they were in a burqa. Think
Even
about
your
that.
burqa, man. Honestly, I'm not going to worry too much.
Have
about
you
it, 'cause
seen those burkinis though?
I don't even know what a burkini is. I can kind of.
A
Because I
burkini
can
is
wear
a
bikini and
full
burqa.
one-piece burqa that you can wear at the pool or at the beach. But they are more provocative than wearing a bikini in some cases. So even though they're supposed to,
I'm looking at. In fact, I'm going to switch off my filter, because I'm a good boy. My filter. No, why are you laughing? My filter is search results should be moderate, so I'm going to switch that off, and I've got
just
him.
do a search for a burkini. and we can't.
It looks like James Bond coming out of the water in full. What do you call it?
Yeah, it's like one of those. Yeah, it's like a swimsuit. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I can't. What? Look,
Yeah.
anybody who finds this sexually titillating, honestly, I'd say lay off the coffee, man. I don't know what's going on, but no. Excuse me. We can't share pictures, can we? We can only share links. Okay, I get the image address. I'm going to share it with you on. Oh
Are we going to share it in the blurb of the show, or not?
If you can in the blurb, but can you actually?
We can share a link, of course we can. But then where the link resolves is neither here nor there. I'm mindful of the time here because I'd like to talk of another topic as well. But
okay, I've got it. So please share this with
the audience.
Because I could we take a poll?
With
how many people find this?
Well, we could, but we'd have to do it on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
So we could do it on a Facebook page.
I'm not finding this to be anything. This is just, there's nothing to me. No, sorry. No.
That's quite attractive, yeah.
Yeah, pass.
That is. We'll share that. We will share that with our audience. And to do a poll, what we'll do, therefore, is put a link back to Facebook. And so if anybody, what we'll have to do is set the poll up on Facebook and share the link to our Facebook in our blurb, so that anybody, whatever platform they happen to be consuming our content on, can go back to Facebook and fill in the poll. So
the second one is better. The second link, I think, is okay. Better than the first.
Is that a link that can be shared? Yeah, again, you see?
Yeah, I'm just saying it's better, but it's still not, you know?
No, I'm not saying it's Whoever says it's is actually very attractive.
No, I'm saying I'm not finding it particularly anything. It's just meh.
Interesting. Okay, there you go. But it's very attractive in my opinion. So again, each person's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but going back to the topic in hand, the provocative element, it's still, you know, how do you define what's provocative? Certain companies will have a certain a clothing, a dress code policy, but not everybody does. So people they do push the boundaries at times.
Loose fitting and no flesh showing, no unnecessary flesh showing. So no sleeve above the elbow, and no form of dress, whether it's shorts or skirt or whatever. Above
so just trousers. Why above the knees?
Well,
so you've now taken an arbitrary figure. Some people say, well, no, below the knees, or just show the ankle, or no ankle, or trousers. Do you see what I mean?
That's what schools use. So
shoes don't schools do skirts but socks?
No, I'm saying schools, at least the good ones, no skirts shorter than the knee. It's just a standard. No shirts shorter than the knee, and generally speaking, girls that wear dresses that are up to the knee or slightly longer or all the way, they're just better. I don't know, and that's been a long tradition. I think that's way back from the 50s or something. So it's been a good standard for a long time. And if women want to come in trousers, that's fine, as long as it's not figure hugging. Again, it's loose fitting. Because you can.
Why is it always to do with the man? I don't get it. Why
has it always got to be what?
Why has it got to be provocative for the man or non-productive?
Because it's the women running to HR and complaining about it, about being stared at.
And that's the core of the problem here.
Yes,
it's not. It's the fact that the
Here's
problem
a solution
is that
for you, Tony. Here's a solution for you. I just thought of it this second. Okay. Wear what you like, but you can't complain to HR about anything.
Yes.
So you can come in a bikini, that's your problem. And if men are staring at you and you're uncomfortable, again, that's your problem.
Your problem.
Take some responsibility.
Indeed. If that would save a lot of aggro. However, the bosses may not like it, because if that distraction kept productivity down, then obviously they would have words and say, well, look, your clothing is affecting productivity. It may not be affecting morale, it may be improving morale, but it would affect productivity, and that's something that they want to ensure
Well,
is
as a
still
boss and as
maintained.
a MGTOW, I would say that everybody's got to take responsibility. So if
I'm agreeing with you. I think that's
you're busy
absolutely right.
staring at the woman, at this provocatively dressed female, instead of working, boot her, just boot the person out. Say, look, I don't care. I didn't pay you to come here and oogle. Is it oogle or ogle?
Ogle.
Ogle. I don't know why it isn't oogle. I prefer the person oogle. Anyway, if you come in and ogle Lara, whatever her name is, over there, I don't know any Lara, so it's fine. You ogle Lara over there, and you're not doing your work. It's thank you and goodbye.
Indeed. Okay.
So everybody take responsibility for themselves. So if you're a woman, come in dressed as the way you like. However, don't go running off to HR about you were sexually harassed or anything. We don't want to hear.
So freedom of clothing means no hassle. It's your choice, but there are conditions. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I'm up for that. I think that gives people some autonomy and individual choice, but they obviously, again, it's consequences. They have to ensure that they're not. But mind you, you could also argue that if someone decides to come in professionally dressed, but they're still ogled by certain individuals, then that's a grey area now, isn't it? Because
Not
you've
really.
now,
They have to talk to their sisterhood, and they all have to agree that
well, then
okay.
that then throws that out the window, because then you know, all the women then would agree, oh yeah, they don't like that guy, let's get him in, get him
No.
done.
No. They have to then all agree that we're going to go back and be able to complain, but they have to come in burqas. So if you're going to be able to complain, you're going to have to be dressed according to to dress standards that we set. It's an option. Nobody's forcing anything on anyone. You can accept the dress standards, and that means you can complain to HR, or
Right.
you can say no, we don't want dress standards, and then you can't complain to HR, and you just take the
Should
risk
that
of
be an
doing it.
individual choice then? To say, right, okay, this is what we have as
No,
our
nobody has the time
standard.
to start worrying about which girl has agreed to the standard. I mean, there's just a company-wide rule.
Well,
So
this is what
everybody,
happens now. They have a dress policy in most places anyway.
well,
So
I
if
don't
you
know.
adhere to that, then and you're still ogled, then you've got then the individual who's doing the ogling is clearly at fault. But if you are past those dress standards, then I think even now you couldn't really go to HR, because if you're going to HR to say you're being ogled by somebody and your dress code, you don't match the dress code, you've dressed beyond it, then HR may not be sympathetic with your complaint because you have flouted the dress code rules. So I think that's already in place, is it not?
Well, I don't think so. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this complaint about women being provocatively dressed and running off to HR. And since you are one for who likes things to be well defined, what exactly is an ogle anyway?
An
So at
ogle.
what point
Oh, I
does it,
see.
at
Someone's
what point is
ogling
it,
me. Yeah, it is
at what point
difficult.
is it? Yeah, exactly. So the whole thing is just, to me, let's keep women in the kitchen and then we won't have these issues.
Oh, that's not good. No, you can't say that. You can't. Well, you can, but I disagree and
There we go.
wholeheartedly.
That's much
And
better. Yeah, you
yeah,
disagree because I
I
just did.
disagree with that
Where's my
viewpoint. Well,
sandwich, woman?
wholeheartedly.
Sort of
It's
thing.
it's not right. Okay, we've got a few more minutes on a final topic that I want to discuss. Again, this is one that you brought up, but you seem to have umbrage with, which I can't quite get my head around. But you've said, is having two jobs dishonest? So
Yeah.
why? Why are you even saying that? There's many people that have more than one
Just you'd
job.
be tired. Like, you have a main job and you have a side hustle. But the side hustle is, in this particular case, it's not a side hustle where you can come home and just quietly work on something at night and then go to bed at a reasonable time, get up at a reasonable time, and you wake up, you're energized, you go to work, you put in a good hard slog at work. You give your employer his or her due. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you got job A and then you go to job B, and job B makes you tired for your job A. So after a while, you're not actually putting 100% at job B and you're not putting 100% at job A. To me, you're cheating. It's dishonorable because you are taking payment for work that you're not doing.
Yeah, but
And
that's up
that's
for
me.
the employer to decide. If you're,
Well,
if
you all know when we're skiving. Come off it.
no, we do
We
no,
all
but if
know when
you're
we're
if
skiving.
you're meeting the obligations that are being put upon you, and you're delivering the work, it doesn't matter if you're tired. There's a lot of people who are tired with having one job. So, you can't. I mean, come on. There's a lot of single people not single people, people with single jobs who are also in that boat. So, what are you saying there? They're dishonest? They're doing the minimum for what they're getting paid for.
Yeah, if they've got slopey shoulders and they're doing the minimum and they've only got the one job, then they are being dishonest for a different reason.
Okay.
Or
So two
perhaps
jobs is this irrelevant in this case. It's whether
no,
they're
two jobs
actually
are
pulling their
relevant
weight.
because two jobs are relevant because I'm saying that if you are two jobs will always necessarily make you tired and ineffective, probably in both jobs. I mean, there's a limit to how hard, how many hours.
Yeah, but
a
people
human
don't
being can work.
necessarily pick two jobs for the love of it. They're doing it because they're not paid enough and have to make ends meet. So it's through need. It's not through want. They have to blooming work two jobs because they're paying the bills and everything's gone up. So it's not through direct fault of their own. Their job A isn't paying them enough with the rising cost of living. So they have to get job B in order to make ends meet, and that's a common occurrence. So
there are always reasons for us to do bad things. Always. There was a reason to own slaves. Still a bad thing. So it boils down to this. Either this is a good thing or it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's a bad thing. It's dishonest. Now, it does help to pay the bills. It's still dishonest. Stealing helps pay the bills. We don't go around, well, we shouldn't go around stealing. Fraud helps to pay the bills. Doesn't give you a right to
yeah, but this is but those other two that you've just mentioned, fraud and stealing, are actually against the law. But having two jobs are not against the law. They are because of need, necessity.
Maybe they ought to be because we got people sitting at home earning benefits who said they can't find a job. So maybe we ought to make it against the law.
No, because you're now artificially affecting those people who are committed to live a certain standard by getting two jobs. They've got a great work ethic, and you want those sorts of people working for you anyway. It shows commitment.
People on benefits working. Right?
No, but yeah, that's a separate topic.
That's
a separate topic.
Well, you're the one saying it's
there's
separate.
plenty of jobs out there. The roads are not clean, are they? They can be swept. Houses can be painted. There's jobs.
Potholes in them.
Yeah,
get people to go in and fill in the blooming potholes.
Exactly. There's jobs. Trust me. Not everything has been done. So there's plenty of jobs that need doing. It's just the willingness to get people out of benefits.
No, you used two words there that I'm not going to work with, and you said trust me. No, I need to see figures. Sorry, I'm going to need to see the figures on that. I think there was last year or the year before when I was looking for a job. It wasn't that easy to find one.
Oh, listen. What about the NHS? They're screaming for people. Now, if you say, they're not paying a lot.
Serious? No.
The NHS are screaming for people. They have got a 1 in 10 or 1 in 15 jobs vacant. They are looking for people. Now, you may choose not to want to work in that industry. That's a separate topic, a separate discussion. But if you really wanted a job, you can find a job. So
178 NHS jobs in Northampton. I don't know what.
I'm going to have to be filled.
I'm going to have.
Honestly, the NHS
need qualifications and whatnot.
They will train you because it's specialist. Think about it. You don't start off with a lot of money, but because they'll train you. But if you get good at it, then you've got a job for life there.
Well, I haven't mentioned this before. I mean, I'm looking at some of these figures here, and I'm thinking to myself,
Goodness me. Yeah. The NHS are constantly looking because it's a stressful job. And that's most people in the NHS have only one job. but it's stressful. It makes them tired. So this thing about having two jobs being dishonest, you're having one job and working hard. Does that make you dishonest if you're tired? I mean, I'm sorry, I don't buy that.
If you're tired with the one job, then you might want to talk to your general practitioner, your doctor, because you might have you might have a condition.
Well, could it not be that you've got young kids at home that keep you up, or have you got elderly parents that you're looking after them? It's called life. You have to look after things, and maybe you need extra money. You need a second job. There's so many people that work second jobs to make ends meet for various reasons. I applaud them.
Yeah,
because they've got a great work ethic. So you don't want to
jobs.
discourage them. It's certainly not dishonest.
First of all, they're stealing jobs from those who need.
They're not stealing jobs. Trust me.
Can go into the
I'm telling you now, trust me, they're not stealing jobs.
I mean, there are 99 jobs in Northamptonshire posted over the last week in the NHS. And I suggest to you that there are far more than 99 people looking for jobs.
Of course there are.
So I don't understand why those jobs are.
It's because people are choosing not to take those jobs.
Exactly.
And it's a choice.
And that boils down to we're too lax with benefits money.
Well, there is an argument for that. Did you know that in America, I don't know if this is true anymore, but certainly was, well, we're talking a number of years ago, they used to pay unemployment benefit for only a set number of weeks.
Yeah.
And most people found a job the week before the money stopped. Now, isn't that incentive there?
Yeah.
Because they're given money prior to that point, so they're not really looking. And when they know the money's running out and can't put food on the table, they find a job.
Yeah,
so
there's a job going.
Yeah, so there is an element there that we so going back to the topic in hand.
It'd be a lot easier for people to get that job if everyone sticks to the one job. No, I'm not talking about side hustles. I'm talking about two jobs.
No. There's
that's entrepreneurship.
We are not, the people who have two jobs are not taking jobs away from others. Trust me, that is not how it works.
Trust me.
I'm telling you, because I have a lot of experience in this particular area, so it's not that at all.
Yeah, I'm still not going to trust you.
Okay, so what's your final conclusion? Because I'm mindful of the time here. Is having two jobs dishonest?
I'm not going to go as far as I'd like to go, which is we take people who have two jobs and shoot them. That'd be going too far. Up against the wall, that will stop that nonsense straight away. I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to say, maybe we stop the two job thing and we start demanding that people get paid a proper salary for doing a proper job. How about that?
Yeah, in principle, that's great. But the business owner, a lot of the people who are business owners, they're trying to make ends meet too. So they are giving people the money that they can.
Maybe we lower taxes and stop taxing people so that we can make bombs to go and blow people up in other countries.
I'm actually up for that one. Yes, tax less. Give people more, absolutely.
Tax less, and when you do tax, make sure you use it on something sensible in the country that actually develops our industry and develops our ability to create more wealth.
Indeed. I'm up for that, of course.
What the heck is that?
But anyway, to answer your question, no, I certainly do not believe that having two jobs is dishonest. I actually applaud people that do, because they have got a great work ethic. So well done, all of you out there who do have two jobs. I do applaud you. Don't listen to Tayo. He's not in the same page. Anyway, unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show for another week.